It's a reminder. Good afternoon, councillors, members of the public and officers. Welcome along to this meeting, which I declare open. And I acknowledge this is Wardandi Noongar Budji, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'm very delighted to see our freemen of the city. Welcome along to John Castrilli. John and his wife are the two surviving freemen of the city of Bunbury. We're delighted to have you here. Under announcements, councillors, I just note the passing of former councillor Nick Zachnick. I attended his funeral on Friday to represent you. Nick was a councillor for many years, but he was probably well known as one of Bunbury's original fruit and vegetable business people. Together with his brother, they made a significant impression on Bunbury, a well-loved man. Are there any declarations of interest, councillors? Thank you. Confirmation of the previous ordinary council meeting. Can someone move those minutes be confirmed, please? Councillor Giles, Councillor McCleary, all in favour? That's carried unanimously, thank you. And we have the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 28th of July. Can I have someone move that they be confirmed, please? Councillor Hayward, Councillor McCleary, all in favour? That's carried unanimously, thank you. Are there any petitions, councillors? Thank you. Method of dealing with tonight's agenda. I have one item which we need an absolute majority for, and that's 10.1.1. Are there any other items, councillors, that you wish to discuss? Councillor Smith? Who said that? Councillor Stick? 10.2.1. 10.4.1, Councillor Kozisek. Can I have someone?
Sorry, sir. It's just that when you move the 10.4.2 on block, that one has been pulled out, hasn't it?
10.4.2?
Was that pulled out?
No.
Can you just record my name for voting against, please, sir?
We'll deal with it, Councillor Stick.
Thank you, sir.
Any others? Can I have someone move the balance? Thank you, Councillor Hayward. Second up, Councillor Plum, all in favour? That's carried unanimously, thank you. So 10.1.1, councillors, can I have someone move the executive actually it's committee recommendation. Councillor McGuell, second to Councillor Plum. Any debate? I'll put it all in favour. That's carried unanimously, thank you. 10.2.1, can I have someone move the executive recommendation? Councillor McGuell, second to Councillor Hayward. Councillor McGuell. Councillor Hayward. Speaker against.
Sorry, sir. Can I just ask that we take them separately when we do go to vote?
Which ones? What?
The endorsing the following 6 projects from the city.
So you're talking about number 2?
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to do that.
Thank you, sir.
Speaker against. Okay, we'll go to 1, which is A to F. All those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. 2, A1, those in favour, please indicate. Those against? One against. That's carried. Councillor Steele votes against. A2, those in favour, please indicate. Those against? That's carried unanimously. A3, those in favour, please indicate. Those against? That's carried. Councillor Steck and Steele voted against. The rest were for. Number 4, those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. 2B, those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. C, those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. D, those in favour, please indicate. Those against? That's carried. Councillor Steck was against. The rest were for. E, those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. F, those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. And number 3, those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. We go to 10.4.1. Can I have someone move the executive recommendation, please?
Happy to move, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hayward. Councillor McGrail. Councillor Hayward, do you wish to speak to it?
Yes, I do. Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. So this is an opportunity for a billboard, as we've all read in the agenda item. I know that previously there was some concern around some of the objectives, particularly the Shire of Dardanup. But I think you'll note from the officer's report that the issues raised by the Shire of Dardanup were considered and were added to our document or there. I think the language that they used was that if it was to get approval, then they asked for the following conditions to be put on the sign, and our officers have included those things in this approval. It is a digital billboard. We do live in 2020. This is the future. This is the way signs are going to be displayed into the future. And I think that we shouldn't be discriminating against the technology. It is an approved use of this land, so the owner has the right to do it, and I think that it should have our endorsement. So I'd encourage you to support it. Thank you.
Councillor McGrail.
Yeah, just echoing Councillor Hayward's comments, they did conform with those conditions. Obviously, the changing of the hours, changing the size, I believe, as well. So I'm all supportive of it. This is a business obviously looking to other ways to make a dollar, which I think we need to support in that way. I do, notwithstanding there was some objections to it. They were, in my opinion, some sort of, so again, a lot of those objections were talking about the light, the brightness and all those kind of things, which I do believe have been addressed for the officers and the conditions that they have to operate under. So I'm more than happy to support this and urge all councillors to support this one.
Speaker against? Councillor Steck.
Thank you, sir. I'm against this, not because I'm not in favour of being a modern city, but more rather because I just can't fathom why we selected this site. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would have thought that we would have been looking at going through Robertson Drive, heading down south. We've got a billboard there in a rest area across from the hospital. I would have thought that would have been a prime position. For that reason...
Councillor Steck, this is a private application. It's not a City of Bunbury project at all.
Well, then I'm still saying that we could still ask them to move it.
Speaker 4. Councillor McCleary.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to send people's minds back quite a way, and Councillor Hayward and I had a little chuckle. I can remember on Kings Road where I went and debated that we shouldn't have the electronic sign there, and it has turned out really excellent. And I think it's really good to have the debate on this, because then the developers feel that they have to really do something fantastic and also apply to the rules to get a billboard that is pleasing to everybody as well as the advertisers. So in this instance, I say, yeah, it's going to be great. Thank you.
Speaker against? Councillor Hayward. I'll put it all in favour. Those against? That's carried. Those against were councillors Kozisek, Smith, Brown, Steele and Stick. Thank you. (10.4.2). Can I have someone move the executive recommendation, please? Councillor Steele, Councillor Brown. Do you wish to speak to it, Councillor Brown? No. Speaker against, Councillor Stick.
Thank you, sir. When this first came before council as part of the youth precinct, I especially asked, was it going to include outdoor courts, because I couldn't support that, considering we already have outdoor courts that are just down from the beach and beach access area. I look at the youth precinct as an opportunity for the city, but I do not support creating new courts that we are not utilising the courts that we have at the moment to its full extent. So I can't support it on those means, and also because I just want to remind everybody, through you, Mr Mayor, that when we got the designs back, the space for that youth precinct was far bigger than what we asked for.
Speaker for, Councillor Steele. I'll put it all in favour. Those against? That's carried. Councillors Stick and Smith voted against. The rest were for. 10.4.3. Can I have someone move the executive recommendation, please?
So moved, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Stick. Second to Councillor Turner. Councillor Stick. Councillor Turner. Speaker against.
Thank you,
Councillor
Mr. Mayor.
Smith.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I begin by saying I have complete sympathy for anyone who, through no fault of their own, have a fire that either destroys or damages their house. If anyone cares to read the minutes of the Heritage meeting of the 12th of June where we made this decision, it would be clear that I voted against that demolition at that meeting, and I intend to do so tonight as well. I'm on principle will vote against demolition of heritage listed properties anywhere in the heritage precinct unless there's completely extenuating circumstances. I would point out that there's a photograph on our Docs on Tap that shows a picture of this premises, and it's still got its roof on. However, I speak against the motion because of the importance of our heritage and Bunbury's heritage itself. Bunbury is a unique city that I don't think we pay enough attention to. Our heritage is a point that defines our city and differentiates us from those living in surrounding areas. Now, inner city living is going to get more of a focus in the incoming years, particularly because of COVID. And it seems to me it's a bit too easy to buy a relatively cheap block in a heritage area with the intention of bowling over the house that's already on it. So that does concern me. Bunbury has only one gazetted heritage area, where there are other sections of Bunbury that should be listed. I could name heaps: at Tree Street area, Oakley Street, Garvey Place. There's lots of terrific places in this city that are worthy of heritage protection. In the nearly 3 years I've been on the Heritage Committee, I've seen numerous attempts to demolish heritage houses in the heritage zone, to whittle away slowly at this area. I suppose it depends on the damage to a property to see if it's viable to save. But if we continue to allow this to happen for too much time, the heritage area will be of little value, and the city will continue to set precedents for others to have a go and follow. I've seen numerous examples both in Western Australia and the eastern states where heritage facades have been kept and a modern building goes on behind, not to disrupt the streetscape. In this case, the committee and staff have supported the demolition because of the effects of the fire. From my viewing from the street only, I must emphasise, there could be a chance to preserve the facade to keep the streetscape of this absolutely marvellous street intact. I encourage my fellow councillors to visit some of our heritage streets, including Park Street, to see for themselves some of the gems that are there. I congratulate their owners on the wonderful preservations that have taken place. I note on the officer's comments on page 45 that It says the fire-weakened overall structure and the roof support and the roof sheeting may cave in due to future weather events, potentially posing a risk to any squatter occupants of the residence. But as I said, if you look at the photograph, the roof is still there. Because I believe our built environment tells us who we are and where we have come from, I think we should preserve it with all the will we have and to fight against any actions that may water down any powers the city may have. When are we going to realise that Bunbury is unique? You could not see the style of housing we have here. Why? It's because of the way the city has developed. You've got the more wealthy people building on the hill. You've got working people building on the other side of the railway line. And if you look at the houses, they're fantastic in both cases, and I would like to see them stay. In conclusion, I would like to congratulate and thank the staff for their wonderful, considered work they do in this area of heritage, and thank them for all they do. But I cannot agree with demolition of this property because I think it's the thin edge of the wedge. Thank you.
Speaker 4, Councillor Hayward.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Well, I'm very sympathetic to certainly the views of Councillor Smith and respectful of those. We do have a heritage committee exactly for this purpose. Their job is to make sure that those houses are preserved and to make sure that that heritage continues into the future. Their recommendation to us tonight is that this building cannot be saved and they are recommending that it be demolished. And I think that the problem we've got is that something needs to happen with it. It can't continue in the condition it is now. It has structural problems that are probably too difficult to fix or not financially practical to be able to be repaired. So the owner has come to us with a proposal to demolish the building, which has been supported by our heritage people. So I think in those circumstances, whilst I certainly agree with the values that Councillor Smith has presented, I think ultimately we need to make a decision to back our Heritage Council and our officers and to see this building be rectified, in this case by demolition and rebuilding. I must also say that what's proposed to be rebuilt there is probably, to some degree at least, in fitting with that space as well. So I think that's a good thing. Thank you.
Further speaker against? Councillor Stick.
Thank you, sir. I just want to reiterate some of Councillor Hayward's comments, and that is that the city has some design guidelines for building in the heritage area, and that is including in extensions, sir. This building is well beyond repair, and it is derelict, and we don't want it actually just sitting in the city becoming more derelict and more dangerous. The outcome will be that we will have a property which does comply with the design guidelines, and we will end up with...
Point of order.
For the recommendation, not against the recommendation.
No, Councillor Stick is closing it.
Oh, sorry. It's my fault.
It's okay. It's okay. The night's young.
Thank you. Oh, look, I don't need to go on any further. It is, as the officers' comments say, it is dilapidated in disrepair. We're going to get a new building within our guidelines of heritage requirements, and the engineering reports also show the building is just not capable of being repaired, and it was substantially altered before the fire.
I'll put it all in favour, please indicate. Those against? That's carried. Councillors Smith and Brown voted against, the rest voted for. Thank you. And I declare this meeting closed at 5:48 p.m. Thank you, councillors.